Gentle as a kitten in a tree.
Why this theory could be true. What you might have missed in the show is that every character is suggested to be dead and living in the afterlife. The neighbourhood in which the show takes place is said to symbolise a place called the Purgatory. In case you didn't know, that is where sinners suffer to atone for their sins before they reach heaven. Dark, isn't it? Further, the characters don't portray features of humans that are alive, but rather ones who are dead. For instance, their tongues aren't the normal pink colour of a healthy human, but instead it has a blue greyish hue, which is found on decaying corpses. Now that makes me wonder, is this why most of us like dark humour? Another such example is the skin tone. Every character has pale skin, which is once again a common characteristic of people who have, stopped breathing. Moreover, there's absolutely no adults in the show and the kids seem to be all on their own. And think about it, when was the last time you saw an entire neighbourhood full of tweens? Although there are mentions of the parents and other adults, the theories suggest that they've never been on the show. There's one notable exception within the show, with Eddy's older brother appearing in an episode that showed their departure from the so-called Purgatory. Besides all of this, the characters are shown using various technologies like CDs, cassette tapes, even typewriters. This points towards an ambiguous timeline of the show and also indicates that every character belongs to a different time period. I mean, why not? They arrived in Purgatory according to the chronology of their time of death, which is some really dark stuff.
Oh no, Ed! I'm so scared! I'm shaking like cheese.
Characters and theories. Every character in the show died differently and in a different time period. Hence, they all had their own backstory about life and death. Simply knowing the theory isn't enough, so we need to dive into the characters and their dark sides too.
Rolf's mind got blank.
Rolf, the immigrant. Rolf comes from a distant land that he knows as the Old Country. He's the son of an immigrant farmer. Before arriving at the cul-de-sac, Rolf worked tirelessly on his parents' small farm. He's also the leader of a Boy Scout troop called Urban Rangers. His little gang includes Jimmy, Plank and Johnny. Rolf takes great pleasure in his farming heritage. He often calls himself the proud son of a shepherd. One distinctive feature about Rolf is that he always speaks in the third person. The theory suggests that Rolf was the first to arrive from the 1900s era. His family moved to Peach Creek to set up a farm. Ultimately though, Rolf passed away around 1903 due to a tragic incident where his family's farm animals stampeded and trampled him. This incident is believed to be the reason why, in the afterlife, Rolf only has a limited number of animals, including one cow, one goat, a few pigs, a few chickens, all of which wouldn't be enough to cause a fatal stampede. This shows the amount of fear that stems from his death. Even in the afterlife though, he diligently tended to his animals each day and maintained his role as a farm boy.
What you doing, Kevin? Did you lose something? Maybe he lost something, Plank. What's that, Plank?
Johnny 2x4. Johnny was a kid from the neighbourhood, and I have to say, not everyone liked him. Johnny's nickname, Johnny 2x4, most likely comes from his wooden plank size. This was either ingenious or an absolute absence of creativity, but either way it worked. Johnny has a large head with little to no hair in it, and this made him the butt of many jokes in the episodes. He was often found annoying others in the neighbourhood with his chatty nature, yet he was Forrest Gump level chatty. He was barely seen alone. He always seemed to be accompanied by his imaginary friend, Plank, and Plank was exactly what it sounds like, a wooden plank with eyes and a mouth drawn on it. Despite being perceived as unusual in modern times, his actions were regarded as simple childhood innocence and playfulness during his era. He passed away in 1922 after a long struggle with tuberculosis. A cure for his illness, penicillin, wasn't discovered until 6 years later. In the afterlife, he brought his only friend, Plank, with him, as it was the last thing he saw before his death. Plank is known to sometimes show sentient behaviour, notably shown in the movie, and that could be explained by their existence within Purgatory.
Top shelf, shorty. Hey, go bug Sari a little past, Johnny boy. Here we go.
Eddy, the leader. Eddy is one of the main characters in Edd, and Eddy. He is also the self-appointed leader of the Edds gang. He basically won the marathon in which nobody else participated. Eddy has many shortcomings, not just for a leader, but even for a regular sane human. He's overambitious, deceitful, and always power-hungry. Even his friends often reject him in front of others. We all have that one friend in every group. Sure, go ahead and share this episode with them. Eddy's opponent, Kevin, even called him desperate for all his attempts to make money. He always seeks approval because his rival Kevin is more popular than he, and this makes Eddy feel inferior, even when compared to Plank. Eddy was born in New York during the Great Depression. Like many others, he must have witnessed economic struggles as well as hunger and malnutrition. Eddy soon moved to Peach Creek with a burning desire to escape lifelong poverty and misery. However, he had no one like a father figure that he could idolize and learn to navigate the world from. All he had was an older brother who was surely not a good choice to be inspired by. Eddy attempted to make money by scamming the swindled kids, but it doesn't go well. He was chased by them into a lake where he drowned and bit the dust. In the afterlife, Eddy continues his pursuit of the almighty dollar through scamming, showing his persistent nature even beyond the world of the living. Edd, the half-wit. Edd is so bad that he's actually good. I mean, there's barely anything that he can do without hilariously failing at it. Edd is also one of the three main characters of the show. Although he is the strongest of the three, he's also the least intelligent. But we get it. Not all fingers are the same, right? Edd, however, is a pleasant character with a positive attitude towards everyone he meets. Additionally, he has a knack for befriending everyone he comes across. Edd is often forgetful and innocent, which makes him an ideal partner for Eddy's scams because he's very loyal and he rarely questions or doubts them. Yet, Edd never thinks of mistreatment from Eddy, even though he always serves as the main manpower for all of the schemes. Edd's naivety makes him a victim of his sister too, Sarah, her dominant personality. He's always scared of Sarah, and why wouldn't he be, because she has this control over him. Despite her torture and teasing, Edd does care a lot for Sarah and tries hard to keep her safe and happy. Edd and Sarah joined the cul-de-sac right after Eddy. After their father's death in the Second World War, they were distant from their mother. Maybe that's what led to Sarah adopting this bossy behaviour to compensate for the loneliness, while Edd immersed himself in comic books and monster movies to escape his troublesome reality. In 1953, they both tragically died in a car accident and united with the other dead children in the afterlife.
You get off. You guys are totally acting like jerks. Why don't you leave poor Jimmy alone? He's younger than you know, and blah, 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 blah.
Naz, the hippie. Naz von Fartenschmier is the popular kid in town, and she's also the romantic interest of the show. She's known for her trendy and beautiful looks, and she often hangs out with the cool kids on the block, mainly Kevin. Her beauty leaves most boys captivated, and more often makes them nervous and speechless. However, with the exceptions being Rolf and Jimmy. As the head cheerleader at Peach Creek Junior High School, Naz mixes sweetness with occasional unusual behaviour, acting like the typical friendly and somewhat dumb blonde girl next door. She's fine with the Edds and their mischief as long as they're not troubling her girl gang. Naz was born to hippie parents in the 1960s. She's a flirty flower child, engaged with the male children in the neighbourhood. Unfortunately, in the summer of '79, a local asylum escapee entered her home, committing terrible acts against Naz and resulting in her sad death alongside her entire family. Naz seems to be a little too okay for someone with such a gruesome death, but I guess that's the point of the afterlife, you leave the suffering behind.
You throw like a 2-year-old.
Edd, the Brainiac. Edd is known by the coolest nickname of them all, Double D. He's one of the three main characters within the show. Despite being the physically weakest, he stands out clearly as the most intelligent amongst the Edds. Edd is one of the characters who is very careful, kind, and has good intentions. He's characterised by calm and disciplined behaviour. He hates chaos and loves order, often playing the role of a peacemaker due to his love for harmony. Although Edd is gentle and accepting, he can sometimes be a bit awkward, especially in interactions with girls. Despite the fact that he seems to be an outcast, he earns respect within his peer group. Edd often offers assistance when needed. Without Edd and Eddy, Edd might have been more accepted by the overall group. However, being a perfectionist and always aiming to please others, Edd was born in the 1970s, and this was a time when an early academic success became the societal norm. Edd was raised by strict, controlling parents who pushed him to excel academically and maintain flawless cleanliness. It's believed that he met his demise due to a gas leak, causing an explosion involving his chemistry set's Bunsen burner.
Yeah? What can you dorks do about it?
Yeah, well, we dorks are gonna solve this.
Kevin the Bully. Kevin was born in the early 1980s. He had to face a tough childhood with a broken down home and an abusive father. Kevin had to bear the loss of his mother at a young age too. Like most bullies, he became a bully to other kids in the cul-de-sac to cope with his own frustrations. Kevin loves his bike and is always seen with it. This aligns well with the rise of extreme sports and the popularity of the X Games in 1995. Unfortunately, his father fatally beat him in a drunken rage in the later months of 1999. This led to his death on the way to the hospital. His father was convicted of the murder and sentenced to a life in prison. In the afterlife, Kevin imagined his father as loving, but he retained his bullying behaviour.
YouTubes! Where'd you get those from?
Get what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Jimmy the Jinx. Jimmy is a kid who often feels unsure about himself and likes to cry way too often. He dreams of becoming famous but miraculously. Jimmy is prone to accidents due to his clumsy nature. He always has many bandages and is the least strong kid in the cul-de-sac. Despite this, he can be clever when he wants to be, and he successfully pulls off scams, even fooling the Edds with one tricky plan. Edd arrived last in the cul-de-sac, born in the early 1990s, and diagnosed with leukemia. His parents thought he was too weak to play with the other kids, so he remained in bed most of his life. After a valiant fight with leukemia, Jimmy eventually passed away, completing the story of the cul-de-sac purgatory.
さらばだ。待て。逃したか。